You are listening to the Crown Car Care Show with your host, Todd Harris.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's October 14th, heading our way to Christmas. I believe we're, 2 months away?
Yeah.
2 months away?
That is your benchmark for measuring the distance in time. It's Christmas.
It is.
I love it.
It always is. I can remember talking about how that sled flew with the...
It seemed like it was just yesterday. It was
jet engine that was strapped on the bottom of the something 2000, wasn't it? The Kringle 2000.
Yes.
Kringle 2000. We got a great show today. We're going to talk about some news, some exciting news that's happening in the automotive front.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to discuss 10 of the most delayed maintenance items, which should lead to some interesting discussion. And it should be some good, valuable information for all you people listening out there. And then we're going to get into, if we have time, we're going to talk about towing. What's involved in hooking up something to your vehicle and tow it? It's a lot more than it looks. It looks simple, but there's things as tongue weight.
Mm-hmm.
How's the weight balanced on the trailer? The wiring? Does it have electric brakes or not electric brakes? Well, we'll talk about that if we have time. If not, we'll get into it next week. And of course, we have callers. Anytime you want to call us up and ask us a question or make a comment, please do. It's WSTU World Headquarters here at the foot of the Roosevelt Bridge, and the phone number is 220-9788.
Right.
And that gets you right through the switchboard. People will put you right through, right to us. And World Headquarters here is decorated.
Yes.
Spooky.
Yeah.
And it's scary. All kinds of things in this. It's a big building, and we've got a huge sound studio here, and I'm telling you, there's this stuff everywhere.
Oh, yes. Spooky.
Yeah. Spooky is the word.
Ooh.
And then soon it'll be Christmas.
Yes.
Yes, Christmas. But here's some news for you. Driven brands may sell, and if you've ever heard of Driven Brands, there's a new Driven Brands operation getting ready to operate right across the street from us, that Take 5 oil change place, which don't know anything about it, but we've talked about oil change places and how they can and can't benefit you, and I'm going to leave it at that. But there's a place opening at the foot of the bridge, Take 5. It's owned by Driven Brands. It is owned, of course, by an investment company. And we know what the motive of investment companies is to what?
Generate profits.
Make profits.
Yeah.
And that's all we'll say on that.
Yeah.
And they're getting ready to sell because, a lot of these automotive businesses have been bought up by these hedge funds just strictly to make money, as they're being undervalued, because our market and our world has generally been ignored.
Yeah.
And now people are realizing that it's a steady Eddie type business. It's not going to get you rich overnight, but if you stick to it and do the right thing, just like Crown Car Care does, you'll lead a good life.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say about that. Okay. And we've been in business, 13 years?
13 years. Isn't that great?
Yeah, 13 years. Another bit of interesting information is the federal government has brought suit, and there's been a settlement against Denso. Let's see, Mall, Denko, Vallejo, for price fixing and conspiring with air conditioning components on cars.
Whoa.
$14 million lawsuit settlement out of Michigan. So they were, palsy-wowsy backroom deals.
Right.
Setting pricing, and then who loses on that one?
Well, everybody.
The consumer does.
The consumer always loses.
The consumer loses, and a few fat cats make a bit of money. Speaking of fat cats, there's been a sentence.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Somebody's actually been sentenced.
Yes, with the ex-UAW vice president who was using the FCA funds at the training center to live a high life, and he'll throw extravagant parties. He's been, I believe, he's going to have some jail time, too. He's been sentenced to 15 months in jail. 15 months in jail. So.
Right.
And that's the UAW. They're the ones that are in hot negotiations with GM. And of course, those talks have stalled out.
They have indeed.
And there is rumor that there will be a federal, maybe a mediator come in and negotiate this deal. And I would,
if it drags on,
I would suspect the parties that will lose. Well, we'll let you figure it out. But I wouldn't hedge my bets too hard on it, because I would think that the UAW would lose on this one. I think they're trying for too much.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this whole issue is.
Right.
Everybody deserves a fair shake.
Right.
Everybody should have job protection. Everybody should be able to have the ability to save for retirement. Everybody should have the opportunity to have health care, but it should not be borne by one party only.
Right.
It's a shared event.
Yeah.
Right. Both parties. So
absolutely
interesting. So now some more news here. I've got some bit of headliners. It's got music playing in the background, I believe. What is that noise?
That's my phone.
Oh, I love it. Sounded good.
Yeah.
Ford. Everyone's heard of these emojis that they come up with. Yeah. Do you know who Frank comes up with these and validates them as official?
Who does? Who makes them official?
Well, it's called the Unicode Consortium.
Unicode
Consortium.
You can't make this stuff up.
No.
Where are they out of? Brussels?
I don't know where they're out of, but I can tell you this: that Ford's been hot on the trail to get a pickup truck emoji made.
Oh yeah,
Ford.
Well, I'm brilliant.
Isn't that a good idea?
Well, they're the biggest pickup truck manufacturer.
Yeah, but they're trying
in the
to get it. I guess there's no pickup truck emoji right now.
Well, and I think that makes sense.
And
if I was a Ford Motor guy,
yeah, I think emoji has some emotional something. I don't know what emoji is. It's an emotional. I know the EMO is emotional something. So it's a small picture that creates an emotional feeling when you see it, I guess.
Like you see a picture of a cat, you go, "Aw."
Or a thumbs up. People do thumbs up when they text.
Sure. Yeah.
Here's something interesting. Ford is, coming out with this F-150 electric pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about Rivian. They're heavily embedded with Rivian.
Yes.
Well, they've got a video, I guess, out now that this electric pickup truck, their prototype, which I'm sure will be out in about a year and a half, tows 1 million pounds.
1 million pounds.
Let's see.
So they
a 10-foot double-decker rail cars with 42 2019 F-150s weighing more than 1 million pounds. And they pull it with this one electric vehicle. And there's a picture of it here in this picture I'm looking at. That's kind of interesting.
It is.
Isn't that some interesting news?
Yeah. Well, when the fact of the matter is when you put things on a rail.
Well, it does roll a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Weight doesn't.
They don't. The weight is a small part of the issue.
That's the asterisk at the bottom of the video. That's nobody reads. Like, these are not actual consumers, but they are actors.
Yeah,
it's one of those deals.
Yes.
Okay. Kelley Blue Book has come up with the 2 most valuable resale vehicles for 2019. You know what they are?
No.
Jeep Wrangler and Toyota Tacoma.
Okay.
Which I would suspect.
Yeah. Jeep is always
hot button. Jeep Wrangler. That's the FCA deal that when Fiat took over Chrysler, that was the sweetheart that they got, was the Wrangler. And it was actually about a year ago talks about them selling it for cash.
Yeah.
The Wrangler brand, but I'm sure now they're capitalizing on it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you can't
not to.
And they came out with that Gladiator pickup truck, which is a home run too.
Yeah.
Except it only costs you a mere $60,000.
Only
60.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? I mean,
finance it for 12 years. I'm sure we got 8-year loans now on cars. Sure. 8 years.
8 years.
That's.
Do they have to? Do you have to do a physical to see if you're going to live long enough?
I don't know, but
I think there's coming to that. You probably have to pass a physical.
But you know what happens when you take them that long? You're stealing future sales.
Yeah.
And that's what causes this glut that we've got.
Right, the glut
inventory. If you are financing into the future too long, you're stealing future sales.
What? And how about the used car market? The pricing of the used cars, it's got to be killing them.
It kills it because it tanks it. Speaking of used car market, I don't know if I'd want to buy a second or third hand used Tesla. Think about it. Who's going to fix it?
Yeah.
What kind of, rat's nest have you bought into, and you've only got one guy that can fix it? Elon and company.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's almost a monopolistic type situation that I would be slightly scared of if I knew that if I bought a used Tesla, the only game in town is them.
Right. Totally vertically integrated. Totally. I know.
I have troubles grasping all that.
I know.
Only because I don't know if the consumer benefits. I don't know if there's a benefit.
Admittedly, the marketing model is uniquely different than the rest of the industry.
And I'm going to tell you, when this Vivian or Rivian Motors comes out with their vehicles, it's going to kill them with the pickup truck.
Yeah.
I almost think it's game over.
It could be.
I do. I truly believe it. I just think that's going to be a real full-size pickup truck that's real hardcore.
Yeah.
From what I've read.
Right.
Of course, we don't know until we see the product.
Right.
What we've read is it's the real deal, Frank.
The problem is all these EV companies in the next 2 years, there's going to be 100 different makes and models. 100 different makes and models coming out. They're going to be EV rated.
Yeah, but all the other ones, you'll be able to hook up a DLC to the DLC connector. You'll be able to hook up a scan tool. Someone like Crown Car Care will be able to address it and fix it. But not with the Tesla.
Here's the biggest problem with all these 100 new EVs that are coming out. Who's going to make the batteries? There's not enough battery manufacturing.
And there's not, and I argue there's actually lithium isn't plentiful,
No. So guess who's going to capture the market on? So you might be driving a Rivian or,
made by Tesla.
But trust me, the drivetrain, all that'll be Tesla.
And then we've also read that the carbon footprint that's required to mine this lithium and turn it into a battery pack is horrendous.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Right. It's not carbon neutral. No. I know. I know.
I don't mind. Let's have full disclosure though on everything and have the real conversation. Let's not try to pretend it's what it isn't.
Yeah. Flowers and rainbows.
But if it's not benefit, if in the long haul, the electricity that we're using to charge our electric cars is made by a coal burning power plant, I don't know if we're defeatist, but maybe less.
Yeah. To be fair, we are burning more natural gas, which burns very clean and is good.
Well, here's an interesting cruise ships.
Yeah.
Cruise ships, the output of the pollution that comes off those stinky motors in 1 year.
Yeah.
It's more than 1 million cars.
Wow.
1 year.
1 year.
I just read this. That's
one cruise ship.
One cruise ship.
One ship.
Cars, 1 million cars.
Wow. That's huge.
Well, you've seen it. There's no EPA on them.
They're not rated.
And they burn. They just burn anything that burns.
Oh, yeah.
Stink bombs.
Stink bombs.
So
GM hopes the range education boost for EV sales with the 2020 Bolt EV. Chevrolet says it has solved the electric vehicle range price puzzle, but getting everyone who sells the car or may want to drive one to understand it remains a hurdle.
The hurdle is the recharge time, and we talked about that last week with this capacitor thing, which could solve that conundrum.
Yes.
But right now, I don't know of too many people. And remember, Tesla's the only one that's got the superchargers.
Yes.
So the Bolt, you're hanging out there for quite a while.
Yeah.
If you're doing distance traveling. I mean, if you're just doing in town here, Martin County, Stewart.
Right.
But I don't know if I'd be taking it down to Palm Beach County and back on a commute. I don't know if I'd be doing that.
Yeah, unless you can hook it up when you get to your destination.
Yeah, but then if everyone goes to them, how many hookups are we going to have everywhere?
I know, it's nuts.
It
boggles the mind.
If you're an earlier adopter on these electric cars, you can kind of circumnavigate the world with special privilege, because it's almost like having a handicap sticker. You can get into the charging places because no one else is there, because no one else has one.
Right.
You can get preferential things. But once everyone adopts these things,
ruh-roh.
Now we got a problem.
Right
now, everyone basically that has an electric car is basically like having a handicap sticker.
So this is why I think
you agree with me on that.
Absolutely.
Once this thing becomes mainstream, we got a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Big issue.
I think the parking lots of the future are going to be all solar panels with plugins.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So here's a bit more news. The 3-liter Duramax powertrain that they have on the Silverado truck for 2020 has an estimated highway mileage of 29 miles per gallon in 23 city, which is huge. The new Duramax.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm going to. We've got a very important caller on the line.
Oh my gosh, put him through.
All right.
Put him through the switchboards.
Hello, it's just me, Tamara.
Hi, Tamara.
Well, Max is sitting here right with me doing his homework.
Hey, Max.
So we have some Tesla jokes for you.
Okay, far away.
They're so funny. I was actually laughing out loud. Okay, new Teslas don't come with a new car smell. They come with Elon Musk.
All right.
That was so good.
I like that one.
All right.
Did you hear about the Tesla owner in jail?
No. Tell us what happened.
He was charged with battery.
Oh. Ooh. But all right. Wait a minute.
Wait. I have another one.
Okay.
What do you call a stolen Tesla? An Edison. Okay, one more. When a Tesla drifts, it is called the electric slide.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right.
Tesla
No, that's a
jokes
good one.
revolt me.
Tesla jokes revolt me.
Okay, that's
Thank
all
you.
I got. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Oh, wow. That's some good stuff there.
Good. I just happen to have the laugh track queued up.
Yeah.
too.
Now, here's another interesting fact. We talk about increased inventory on the lots, and that's another reason I don't think that GM wants to end this strike so soon. They've got inventory coming out their ears.
Their ears.
They drive by any of the dealerships. There's cars everywhere. I know. It's not like
they said that now in the news that today they announced that GM may have lost $1 billion. I mean, that's what they're saying. But I
think that could be an exaggeration. I don't know. I'd have to read the statistics, the data on it.
The UAW says that the UAW union has lost $600 million.
That I can believe because they're paying out.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
The average age of a vehicle on the road today is 11.8 years, Frank.
Okay.
Montana has the oldest. Now, that's nationally 11.8. Montana 16.6. And the youngest is Vermont, 9.9. And I would agree because it's up in the cold winter salt. But I don't know what the statistics were back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, how it compares, but I'm sure it was considerably less. If the average age is 11.8, again, what's that doing? For keeping cars longer, we're financing them longer. What's that doing for new car sales? It's stretching it's expanding the whole thing out longer.
Right.
So what happens to all these cars that are out there?
They're
just everywhere.
Well, they have to find new markets too.
Right.
And that's a big reason why the president has been pushing back on some of these other countries, making it impossible for us to sell our products overseas just for that very reason. So we have to have a bigger audience.
Oh, he's trying to get us a bigger audience.
Right.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I think we've got, and then you know what it does for the used car market? If we've got a gazillion new ones out there and with the prices being lowered with giveaway financing, it kills the used car market then too.
Right.
The whole thing suffers.
Right.
So
right.
I just think we're making too many cars out there. Just drive down any car row and on any main street in America and you will see cars everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Didn't we, when we test drove that Tesla, he said the guy got more Model 3s than they know what to do with.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
He was, what color do you want?
No problem. One for each hand.
No, I don't think so. Not 65,000.
What color do you want? Absolutely.
And that's what that was. That one that we looked at
it was 50 something, but I know plus, right?
Sales tax and delivery fees.
Yeah. Oh, I think 51 was the starting price, right?
Still a lot.
I know. As a Model 3,
It's a lot.
that's the cheap one.
That's a lot of money.
That's the cheap one. Wow.
That's a lot of
I
money.
know.
I just don't know. Well, Mercedes was going to come up with a pickup truck. I guess that now I've rumored is dead. Mercedes was going to do a pickup truck. Interesting stuff about this news here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now, here's another talk. The Badlands and the Adrenaline are supposedly future names of some Ford trucks. Adrenaline and Badlands. Aren't the Badlands out west?
Yes, they are. Actually, the Badlands.
Also, Australia, isn't it? Is Australia too?
No. That's something else.
The Badlands are that national park, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think South Dakota.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's in the Dakotas.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it has something, the name has something to do with the heritage of the Indians or something out there. Badlands, I believe.
It could be.
I believe so.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
Let's see now.
Let's do one more bit of news, and we'll get right into the show.
Yes. Okay, last item. Tesla cars may have a memory problem that may cost you a lot to repair.
Oh, yeah. This is what it's starting to surface. I'm telling you.
Elon Musk said Tesla cars are computers on wheels. He forgot to mention that they also run on Linux. They also do a lot of logging, according to Jason Hughes from 057 Technology, more than they should. The information log there is pretty much useless on production vehicles unless a developer has a specific reason for enabling it. It does the consumer no good. These logs are rarely downloaded by Tesla. Oh, that's interesting. So that kills the computer, right?
Yeah. Well, you have to replace it. It's about $4,000.
Oh.
It's like the readable, like a memory stick you would use.
Right.
Hey, before we go to break, let me tell
Okay.
you, we got a supporter out there. It's got water damage, got mold. ASAP Water Restoration can help eradicate those issues. Free property evaluation, veteran owned since 1998. I know him personally. His name's Lenny.
Yes.
Give him a call. His phone number is 288-0292, 288-0292. If you have any further questions, you can call the station while we're here on the air. We can tell you how to get a hold of him. His name is Lenny. He's got water damage expert.
Yes.
He can help you fast. He's really good.
Took care of my ceiling.
Absolutely. Lenny, great personality too.
Mhm.
And
He's a New York Yankees fan, and I do not hold it against him.
don't hold him against him,
No.
but he does a good job at what he does. And then we go to break. When we come back, I'll play another ad from one of our other sponsors.
Oh, you want to? You can do it now.
I'll do it right now.
Before we go to break.
Let's do it right now. Then we'll
All
go to
right.
break, and then we'll come right back to delayed maintenance, 10 most common items.
All
Let me
right.
get this one here. And that would be, here we go. It's a little bit, I think it's about 35 seconds.
If you're a golfer, you know the only way to get better is to practice. But with all the options out there, where's the place to practice? Well, that's the easy part. St. Lucie Driving Range, 6201 U.S. Highway 1 in Port St. Lucie. They have PGA golf professionals on staff all day for individual and group lessons. Male golfers, female golfers, they can and will help your game. They even give you free tips. They have a pro shop on site for all your golfing needs and custom fitting just for you, with prices unlike any on the Treasure Coast. Prices you won't believe. Don't believe me? Check them out. Under new ownership, Reese Woodbury knows what golfers want, what they like, and most importantly, he gives it to them. Customer service is king at Port St. Lucie Driving Range. You got a question or problem? Reese and his staff are there to help. Open 8:30 in the morning to 7 at night with a new bunker and putting area coming soon. Come see why golfers of all skill levels are calling Port St. Lucie Driving Range the best practice facility on the Treasure Coast. U.S. Highway 1, Port St. Lucie. Come on over and see the difference.
Great. We're back. Just wanted to read this news minute here before we get right onto the show. We're going to talk about the 10 most delayed items, car maintenance. Going on right now in the City Hall is a discussion about the controversial Pelican Cafe lease extension. The owners of the popular restaurant on Flagler Avenue at the base of the Roosevelt Bridge asked the city 2 years early for a 10-year extension of their lease. That's a big
Extension.
That's a big extension.
Right.
I would be nervous. With 2 additional 5-year extensions. Boy,
Wow.
That's locking that property down for 20 years, isn't it?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Is that what we're...
That's potential. Mm-hmm. Yep.
In order to justify building a covering over it, outside eating area, the voters approved a 20-year lease extension in a referendum 2 years ago. However, the city wants to have the ability to change the lease agreement if the Pelican owners want to sell or merge with another restaurant. I would agree with that. Thus far, the city has insisted on keeping that language in the agreement. Pelican wants it out, and they launched a Save the Pelican Cafe. I don't know if that's appropriate for what they want out.
Right.
That's just legalese language.
Right.
Yeah, both parties have to be protected.
Right.
Just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To entice residents to speak on their behalf at tonight's city commission meeting. I guess that's tonight.
Mm-hmm. Even as we speak.
We'll see if the public outcry sways the commissioners. The News Minute is brought to you by WSTU 1450 audience. I am in favor of the Pelican Cafe having the ability to do business there. I think 20 years is a heck of a long time to be locked down on city property. It's the blessing is they're blessed to be able to have a building on city property. I don't know what the rent, what are they paying on rent?
I have no idea.
It was a sweetheart deal. I think, I don't know. No comment.
Right. We're just reading the news.
Read the news, but we have opinions.
We read, you decide.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. So.
Okay.
And that was brought to you by Martin County Currents.
That's right.
Right. She does a fine job, Barbara Cloudis.
Mm-hmm.
The county's alternative news source.
Exactly.
And she does a very good job writing.
Yes.
I like her sentence structure and it flows.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yes. Yes.
So the 10 most delayed items, I'm going to give you the list of 10, and then we're going to talk about each item, and then we're going to go through and the consequences of not doing it and why people don't do it.
Okay.
Why they don't do it and consequence for each item.
Okay.
Oil change and filter is number 1. Tires is number 2. Battery is number 3. Engine tune-up is number 4. Brake pads are number 5. 6 is scheduled maintenance, which would be like differentials, service changes, lubricating the drive shaft, things of that nature. Air filter is 7. Wiper blades is 8. 9 is brake discs and rotors. Brake discs and rotors. That's not brake pads, but brake discs.
Right.
It's a little different animal.
Disc brakes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And rotors. And collision, paint, or body repairs. And there's an interesting sidebar on that. And we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, so oil change.
Yeah.
I've noticed everyone seems to be extending their oil changes. I don't know if it's because it's a busy world. Can't be because of money, because it's not that expensive to do an oil change. But today it has gone up in price due to the price of higher priced oils, much more labor intensive.
Synthetic oils.
And labor intensive on certain cars. It requires moving body panels and things. The days of the 1995 oil change, I would be very, 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 very leery if people still are biting that apple today and believing that you can get a $20 oil change done.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah. The oil costs more than that.
The oil costs more than that. I would be leery of any business that offers it. If they are, there's something going on.
Yeah.
Something really going on that we don't want to know about. Right. Or that the consumers should know about, but I don't want to know about.
Right.
What's the benefit of doing an oil change more frequent? I just had a customer in today. Last week.
Mm-hmm.
E350 van with a 5.43 valve engine. They had done an oil change in about 12,000 miles.
Oh,
3.5 quarts low. The engine timing chains were rattling, and it had engine light on with codes.
oh geez.
So
Could this be a problem?
it could be a problem. But here's the deal, though.
Oh my God.
But you wouldn't have had that issue if it was 15 or 20 years ago. You'd have just been low on oil, maybe a little bit of rattling noise, but you wouldn't have a check engine light on, and the timing chains wouldn't be rattling.
So what's going on?
The variable cam timing is all controlled by oil pressure. So once it gets low on oil, it gets low on oil pressure, and it doesn't have the volume to activate the cam phasers that are retarding or advancing the cam timing. So that's the consequence of it. It's deeper.
Yeah.
And it really, I mean, you're talking about $8,000, $9,000, $12,000 for a new motor or something like that in a van. Oil changes.
Wow. Just an oil
And
change.
we just talked last week about why you shouldn't do them. It's your only way.
So what would it have cost him just to do an oil change over the same period? So he would have been in for maybe $200,
$250 over that period of time, but we
Yeah.
wouldn't be having, and once you hear the rattling and the lights on, you've had some premature wear.
Yeah.
I mean, we saved it. What we did is we cleaned the engine out. We put a little flush in the engine, cleaned it out, changed it twice, changed oil twice and filled it back up. It's fine now, but we saved it.
Wow.
Landscape company.
Yeah.
Good customer of ours. It's just things happen. I mean, I understand. I get it. But you as the consumer, if you're listening out there, change your oil frequently.
Yes.
3,000 to 4,000 on non-synthetic and 5,000 to 6,000 on synthetic. And that's it. If you're going 8,000 to 9,000 miles on an oil change, you're absolutely tricking yourself. It defies logic and it's not real.
I like to stick around 3 to 4.
3 to 4, even with synthetic.
Even with synthetic, I'll do that.
Because there's a whole synthetic scam out there, and we should have a show just on that. What is synthetic oil? What really is it?
Yeah.
What really is synthetic oil? It's not what you think.
Remember Mobil One? That was
It's actually petroleum-based oil. It's just highly refined.
correct. It's engineered.
That's correct, but it still is oil. It's hydrocarbons.
Right.
It's still oil.
It's still oil. It's just engineered.
Isn't that weird that the engine, the power plant, is lubricated by the same thing that we run it with?
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's pretty cool.
Right?
That was brilliant.
Right?
Yeah.
And the plastic that's on it is made from the same stuff.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
It's
No,
just-
I've noodled through that myself. I
it's
know.
just hard for me to connect the dots on that
It
one.
is very cool.
The lubrication is what powers it as well.
So here's an interesting. This is a sidebar note.
Yes.
So some of the wells that have dried up.
Are now full again.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Where did the oil come from?
It's generated in the earth. There's whole theories on that one.
There's a whole new
Endless. There's a book I believe called Endless Oil.
Yeah.
I happen to subscribe to it.
Yeah.
The earth manufactures oil.
Yes.
The heat.
Mhm.
Heat, and it's not made from dead dinosaurs either.
No.
It's heat.
Yeah. It's too much. It's too much of
It's
it.
filling the wells back up.
Right. Yeah.
You know that, right? You've
Yes,
read that. The
yes.
wells are filling back up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, there's no shortage of oil.
Nobody's talking about that. Just you and me, but nobody else.
I can't believe you know about that. How do you know about that? There's a book. It was actually, when it first came out was in the 80s.
Yeah. But the interest, I have a
Old
wide
wells
variety-
in Pennsylvania and
Yes.
Texas are filling back up.
Yes.
Same with Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
They're filling back up.
Yep.
Put the straw back in.
Right.
Turn on the sucker. Pump that stuff out.
I know. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
Isn't that how they got their money?
Yeah.
Jed Clampett?
That's right.
Wasn't he shooting a gun or something?
He was shooting at some wild game and the bullet just grazed something in the ground. And before you know it, his oil started bubbling up.
Wasn't that Buddy Epson?
Yes.
I think that's who. Buddy Epson, right?
That's right.
Yeah. He also had a show, a mystery show, or it was what was the show that he was in? Buddy Epson. He was in that. Was it not Rockford Files, but it was that type of show.
Yeah. It was
He drove an old Ford LTD, a big one. It wasn't Cannon, was it? No, Cannon.
That
he
was Frank Cannon. Yeah, that was another
Cannon.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Well, they had this. So
He was a big guy.
Yes. Oof, he was. Yes. Yes,
So,
indeed.
Okay, the second item is tires.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, delayed item. I had a customer last week. This is all true stories here. Had a customer getting ready to go on a long trip. Good customer of ours, and again, if you're only coming in for oil changes and you're not checking anything and you're going those extended intervals, her front tires had the cords showing through them
Oh my!
on the
goodness.
inside, so you didn't see it unless you really checked it
Oh.
on the inside.
So what does that indicate when you have tire wear on the inside?
It's towed out.
Which means that
You're walking like a penguin.
correct.
The tires are walking like a penguin.
Right.
Think about it. You're broad-legged, like Chaplin.
Right.
What's it?
Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin. That's
Right.
what you're. Charlie Chaplin going down the road.
Right.
Or snow plowing, I guess you could call it.
Yes.
Right. And then the other is like a duck.
Mm-hmm.
When you're walking like a duck with your feet going in, that's
Towed
towed
in.
in.
Right.
And that'll wear also the tires.
Yes.
That'll wear the outside of the tires,
Mhm.
actually, because you're plowing.
So that means you need to check for balance.
Well, I mean, we had to balance. We
And
had to put new tires. We put all 4 tires on there. And the back of the tire had 3 pieces of big hunks of metal in them. One was a key. A key was embedded in the entire tire.
Oh, jeez.
So we put 4 tires on there, did an alignment, 4-wheel alignment, and away we go. Okay, so that's tires. Now, battery's another
Mhm.
neglected item. Just because it starts doesn't mean it's not going bad.
Mm-hmm.
Batteries are good for how long, Frank? About 3 years?
In Florida, yeah.
About 3 years.
Top end. Yeah.
3 years. And remember, on newer vehicles, because they use a permanent magnet starter, I'll repeat that, they use a permanent magnet starter, they're only using about 25% of the battery capacity. So you won't feel the battery going bad all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
right? 1982, that starter used probably 75% of the battery when you were starting it. So if it started to get low, you heard it. Today's batteries, you might not hear that because it's only using 20 to 25% of that battery capacity. So you could be well over half gone on capacity and still not feel it.
Right.
Or hear it.
Right. My battery on my Ford just died.
They just all of a sudden die.
It's like the day before I go, oh, this is starting funny. But I thought, well, it's just an aberration. And then the next day, gonzo.
Tune-up is the next item.
Okay.
Delayed item.
Mm-hmm.
Most tune-ups on most vehicles should be done about 80,000, 80 to 100,000 if it has platinum plugs.
Okay, so what's involved in a
tune-up? And I'm just saying spark plug replacement.
Right. And is there wires involved anymore?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Some of them still use them.
Okay.
Some still use a short wire that goes from the coil down to the plug.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do a tune-up, what we call a tune-up, which is basically spark plug replacement, we do check other things.
Right.
There is a scan involved, et cetera. There are boots that need to be replaced on each coil pack if they are there, just like spark plug wires.
Nice.
And if you don't do it, the engine doesn't run efficiently, can get misfires.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you an example. On a Ford F-150, we get them all the time. If it's misfiring, it's running rich, fat, putting extra fuel down in the catalytic converter. Catalytic converter is running at 600 degrees. It gets extra fuel. What happens when you don't fuel on 600 degrees? It gets even hotter.
Yeah.
Melts the catalytic converter, breaks loose, and rattles.
Oh, isn't that special?
$2,500 fix.
How do you don't
$2,500 fix?
Don't you like that sulfurous smell too? Isn't that special?
You remember when the catalytic converters first started coming out in the late 70s?
Yeah.
GM was the leader in it. They had the pellets that used to.
Well, not only were they the leader, but they were selling them to the rest of the industry.
Yeah, but they really smelled like rotten eggs.
They really did.
Oof. Especially up north with the cold weather.
Oof.
Anyone know why smells are more prevalent in cold weather?
Do tell.
Do you know why?
It has to do with the density of the air.
It has to do with how close the molecules are.
Right.
Smell is actually, it's small particles of whatever the thing is.
Right.
Leave it at that.
Yes.
Small particles
Yes.
in the air.
Yes.
Now, if they're floating in the air and there's a lot of space in between,
a lot of volume,
a lot of volume, it's going to be dissipated over a bigger area, therefore
Right.
not as much smell.
Right.
In the cold weather, the molecules are denser, closer together, so therefore they pick up the smell and hold it in a smaller area, therefore you smell it more.
Exactly.
That's why when you're in a city, a big city, and there's food trucks or hot dog carts in the cold weather, you can really smell it. You can smell the onions.
Right.
Or the sausage. They're cooking a sausage or the cheesesteaks. You want one bad in the cold weather because you can smell it.
Sounds so good.
Okay, next item.
Yes.
Brake pads.
Mhm.
Okay. If you don't do your brake pads in a timely fashion, one, heat transfer doesn't happen in the way it should because they're getting too low.
Mhm.
A lot of the heat pad is the heat transfer mechanism that absorbs the heat from the braking, the kinetic energy. The
Mhm.
pads, if you're riding your pads low all the time, what happens to the heat? It stays in the rotor, stays in the pad, doesn't dissipate out as a heat sink, and it causes rotor warpage and brake damage and line issues, and the calipers can get overheated. So there's a whole cascading effect that can happen from not maintaining your brake pads. So it's not just about how much life you got left in them, it's how much heat transfer is lost once you get low. Think about that. You get what I'm saying here?
Where's that energy has to be
There's somewhere, and a lot of the pad
used.
material is what's the absorbent. If you've got no pad and all metal,
right.
It's not absorbing like it should.
Right.
And it doesn't dissipate.
Right.
So it's like a heat sink.
Exactly. Okay.
Scheduled maintenance is
Mhm.
another thing that most people neglect, or at least we find people are neglecting longer than they used to.
Right. So schedule maintenance would
Scheduled maintenance, let's say lubricating the emergency brake cables. The things that are specific to the car.
Are there Zerk fittings still in cars?
Absolutely. On
Yeah.
some vehicles,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Usually on tie rod ends.
Yeah.
Not everywhere. A lot of them are sealed.
Yeah.
But bigger trucks, medium duty trucks, if you own a commercial business out
Right.
there and you've got trucks, you've got Zerk fittings.
Yeah. So
Whether it be on the drive shaft, the tie rod ends, the sway bar links, whatever
Mhm,
it is, ball
mhm,
joints,
Mhm.
drag links. And the consequence of that is tire wear, right? That's
Right.
tire wear, your ball joints wear out fast. If you don't grease them, they're going to get metal to metal, and it's going to cause an alignment issue. It's going to cause noise issues, safety issues.
Yeah. Right.
Next item is air filters. How mismaintained is that? And what's the consequence of an air filter that's dirty, letting dirty air through?
Well, it's got to make the oil dirty too, right?
And decreased engine life.
Right.
Oil leaks more prevalent
Right.
because what causes oil leaks mostly on cars? It's the dirt in the oil that rips the seal up. That's what causes most oil leaks. Most oil leaks are caused by
dirty air.
air getting into the oil and not changing your oil enough.
See?
You see where I'm getting at?
Yes.
Your crankshaft seals, main bearing seals, anything rotating seal, cam seals, they're generally caused by lack of maintenance. Prolonged lack of maintenance causes the seals to get hard from the heat and the oil, and then which causes it ultimately to leak. Wiper blades are another thing. Wiper blades.
Something simple, right?
Because decreased clarity on the windshield, you can cause scratching, right? If it's not picking up the dirt and just taking it off the windshield over time, the cracked windshield can streak and actually permanently mar the windshield. We've all seen that.
Yes.
Right? You've seen scratched windshields.
Right.
As well as a safety issue. We know about that. How many accidents could be prevented by clean windshields? Yeah. Good wipers.
Right.
They're not that much. Come to Crown Car Care, 2 locations. We got one in Palm City and one in Stewart. Number to call is 772-781-8000. 772-781-8000. Call us. We'll help you out with your wiper blades, your air filters, your tires, your batteries, your oil changes, as well as brake discs and rotors.
Right. So when you get it up on the lift, you're going to give it a several point inspection.
Yeah.
And say, hey, you know what? There's something going on here with this with this particular part.
We're going to look at all this stuff. If you come in for an oil
yeah.
change, we're going to look at every one of these items.
Right.
Included. Let's take a break and we'll come back.
All righty. So stick with us and give them a call at Crown Car Care at 781-8000. We'll be right back.
Story about a man named Jed, a poor mountaineer, barely kept his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground come a bubbling crude. Oil, that is, black gold, Texas tea.
Texas tea. Those oil wells are filling back up.
I thought I'd bring that.
Isn't that,
pull that
I just find it so interesting. Oil wells are filling back up.
Yeah. Fascinating.
It is fascinating.
I've
known about it for years, actually. Since I was in college, I knew about it.
It's a non-depreciable resource, as it turns out.
And does not come from what we've always, you ever heard dead done? Right. No.
There isn't enough vegetation.
No.
Think about it in the past, let's say the past 50 years. We've been burning oil for more than 50 years. But let's just say the last 50 years. There's not enough vegetation that you can mash down and create the billions and billions of gallons of oil. That's impossible.
Correct. And then they're saying, and look how far we got to go down.
Right.
Even if you go down to the ocean bottom where there's plankton and stuff have been building for billions of years, you're still not going down the depth that we're talking about here.
Right.
It's from the center of the earth.
Yeah.
It's
coming from somewhere.
And I'm arguing it comes from God.
Okay.
And when you have that into the equation, and I'm a God-fearing person and a Christian, I will tell you, all is well and all is taken care of.
Yes.
When you have a commander-in-chief like that.
Yeah, benevolent commander-in-chief.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So this oil thing is real, and the Saudi wells are filled back up too. They really are.
Yeah.
We got oil. We don't know what to do with it all.
I love it.
Look at the price of gasoline.
Yeah, it's coming down.
It's $2.27. It's almost under $2 a gallon.
I paid $2.19 at BJ's
$2.19
on Sunday.
And you
or
remember what
Saturday.
we were? I can remember in 2006 when I opened up the first Crown Car Care in Palm City, 2006, 13 years ago. It was over almost well over $3 a gallon, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember it used to?
Oh, sure. I remember vacations I took up to Michigan. I was paying $4 a gallon on car
But you know,
trips.
there's a whole throttling theory on price of oil too. If you want to keep the machines of society and the world going,
if you want to depress
what's
growth,
your easiest throttler?
Yeah.
Price of oil.
You bet.
And volume sold of oil, barrels sold, far exceeds marginal increase in profit from either rising or lowering the price of a barrel. So if Saudi wants to really make money, they need the economies of the world to be cranking,
Right.
not maximizing sale price per barrel.
Right.
I would rather sell a lot more oil at a lot less price than a lot less oil at a lot higher price.
Right.
There's more money in this first mechanism, and that is what I believe is what's used to control more than even you get to the Fed and all that. It's the price of oil.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now. I know. So what again? Soon it's going to be the price of lithium.
Yeah, I think so.
Elon Musk is going to be at the throttle.
He's gonna be controlling the lithium. Well, actually, they're trying to. Is it lithium and the cobalt is the real.
Is the real stinker on that?
That's the stinker. Yes, indeed.
I did not know that, Frank.
And it only comes from one part of the planet.
And where's that?
In Africa.
Oh, cool. You know where, like, I believe the number 2 or 3 producer of lithium comes from. It begins with an A.
Afghanistan.
You don't think.
And they also have.
You don't think.
Well, perhaps. Maybe there's a possibility.
You don't think.
Well, who knows?
You know where I'm going with that one.
I don't know. I don't want to know.
Who's controlling it now?
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah, of course.
So very interesting.
Yes.
That I had no idea. Afghanistan and I believe Russia or China has lithium.
Yes.
And I believe a place in South America, Peru or somebody. I think it's Peru has it. So there's only 3 places that are the major producers of lithium.
Correct.
And then cobalt. The cobalt's even harder to come by.
Yeah.
Cobalt. And that's a metal, I believe.
And the Chinese, I think, bought up the
land
area. They already
has most of it.
Through their Belt and Road Initiative,
Yes.
they actually leveraged to own that area. Wow. So yeah, or they're leaning on it anyways.
Okay.
They don't own it outright.
Let's get back to our delayed maintenance. So
all right.
Disc brakes and rotors are number 9. So a lot of people, here you go with the brakes. Okay, you need a brake job. Give me the cheapest you got. Just put some pads on it.
Right.
But the rotors are all chewed up and warped and twisted and dished.
Yeah.
How's that going to help your
What do you do?
braking? How's that going to help the front end when there's vibration? How many of you out there have put your brakes on and you felt that whole front end shake with the steering wheel and the brake pedal? I can tell you right now, that's the rotors. It's always the rotors. So
all right.
Another maintenance item that's overlooked. And I will tell you the 10th item overlooked is collision paint or body repairs. How many people today they get into small fender benders and they don't fix it? But here's the downside. You could get water leaks that can leak onto connectors and modules that can cause long-term electrical issues, just like these flood cars have. Your windshield gets cracked and you don't replace it. What's going to happen? It could leak.
Yeah.
It leaks down into the dash. You could get into some wiring issues, and then all of a sudden you've got gremlins in your car, and it all started because you didn't fix that body work
Not
that
gremlins.
you should have done. So these 10 items are what the Auto Care Association, which is a national auto care association. It's a nonprofit that does research, and they have a website, Auto Care Association, that they've deemed as the 10 most delayed items. We just went over them. They're important things to do. We at Crown Car Care at 772-781-8000. We have 2 locations. We have one on Cove Road at 4455 Southeast Cove Road, just slightly east of US 1, heading towards the ocean. And then we have a location out in Palm City, which is right by the Turnpike entrance off 714. We've been there 13 years, been in business 13 years. If you call 772-781-8000, you will likely have either Joan or Paul answer the phone over in Palm City. If you're closer to the Stewart store, they can transfer you over to the Stewart location, and Mike will help you over there.
Mhm.
Mike's been there for 11 years with me, I think now.
11 years. Ain't
And
great.
Paul, he's great. He's from
Hmm.
Pennsylvania. Paul from Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And Joan, she's from, I believe, New Jersey. And I'm from Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Frank, you're from Michigan. I lived most of my life, though, in Illinois.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're from cold weather.
Oh,
Oil wells are filling up, people.
yeah.
That's the news for the day.
They are indeed.
And it is fact.
Yeah.
It is fact. We'll have to get some. I'm going to get some facts on that.
That's fun
Because
stuff.
it's just, we're just here saying it.
Right.
But I need some data on this.
Right. Right.
We'll have to we have a researcher that travels the world getting us some of this hot off the press
hard
news.
facts.
And that's Joan. She's out there digging deep into the quagmire of automotive news. She's been known to dig dirt up on Tesla as well as Nissan and who's that Goshen that's in that crook in jail. I believe he's got a masseuse coming now, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah.
I don't know.
He changes out between his lawyers and his
masseuse.
Yes.
Masseuse.
Massage therapist. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Interesting.
It's a crazy world.
It's a crazy world out there.
You can't make this stuff
And we've
up.
got lots of BMW Minis up there in Nova Scotia, don't we?
Yeah.
About 5,000 of them.
Still.
They're still up there.
Yeah.
Now we know why that is.
Right.
Mini sales have tanked.
Yeah.
That's reality.
Right.
I mean, I'm just speak the truth here.
Yeah.
Mini sales have tanked. It's owned by BMW.
Yeah.
They're not cheap to fix and they're not
Right.
cheap to buy.
Right.
That's why they're sitting up there.
And if they bring them in, they've got to pay the duty
on it.
Right.
Plus the repair bill. And who wants to buy a salt-ridden Mini?
So they're actually in legal limbo.
It's a mini salt shaker is what it is.
Could you imagine what the electronics look like? And
Ugh.
oof.
I
All
can't see
connections?
crushing 5,000 cars. That would just be tough to see all those poor Minis getting crushed.
Well, they would be smart to at least to break them down for parts, right?
Well, Frank, next week we're going to have to get into the towing because it's a hot topic and it's very, very important. A lot of people tow down here. A lot of retired people pull trailers, travel trailers, whether it be a fifth wheel, whether it be a small trailer for your landscape business. You need to know about the facts on that. Electronic brakes, you've got brake control modules, you've got overload springs, you've got air springs you can put on there. You have torsion suspension, leaf suspension on the trailers. What about grounds on the trailers? How does it affect the wiring? There's all kinds of things that we need to talk about with towing that I think will be beneficial. So if it is of interest to you, catch us next week and we will have a show on towing.
Yes.
And it's important stuff. And the
Absolutely.
towing capacity of your vehicle. How much can you tow at your vehicle? So stay tuned next week.
Right.
And we'll be that much closer to Christmas.
1 week closer to Christmas, we're going to learn about towing and what you need to know about towing, everything you need to know. And give them a call at Crown Car Care at 781-8000. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.